This past week, a friend of mine invited me to go to the Mindfulness Expo at the Anaheim Convention Center. After looking at the roster of events, I told him, okay, I'll go, but as long as I'm allowed to laugh a little bit. I have a complicated relationship with these sorts of things. I am intrigued by crystals and singing bowls. You all know that I'm a fan of meditation. But sometimes the claims of healing and transformation are just over the top. When New Age gurus promise to, quote, heal the karma, past life, inner child energies that keep you from living your life to the fullest and get closer to living your divine life in a 1-hour group session, I get skeptical. I find it kind of funny. Meaningful change, transformation, doesn't happen in a 1-hour group session at the Anaheim Convention Center. Transformation takes time, usually a whole lot of time and practice. In athletic pursuits, that means practicing your sport. A lot of practice. There's a story widely reported about when Alan Stein, one of the world-renowned coaches, was sent by Nike to observe Kobe Bryant's individual workout routines. Everyone knew that Kobe had this relentless training schedule, so the coach showed up for the first day at Kobe's usual workout time, 4 a.m., and the day started with a bit of a surprise. For the first 45 minutes, Kobe Bryant, at the pinnacle of his career, practiced the most rudimentary, basic basketball skills. Stein was impressed with Kobe's dedication and bored to death watching him. Afterward, he asked Kobe why he spent so much time with basic skills, and Kobe replied, "Why do you think I'm the best player in the world? Because I never get bored with the basics." I don't think any of us are aiming at being the best in the world at anything, other than maybe the best at being ourselves. But growth takes relentless practice. In artistic pursuit, that may mean practicing your media and nurturing your unique sense of inspiration. Whether it's bodily health or academic learning, or even, maybe especially, caring for a partner, all of these things require slow, intentional practice for growth. Any transformation takes time. And the same is true for spiritual pursuits. When I enter the questionable, quick fix spirituality spaces, one of the common things is uplifting spirituality and downplaying religion. It's a conversation that pops up here at Tapestry, too. There seems to be a deep desire to defend spirituality and denigrate religion as two contrary things. Spirituality is a little hard to define. It's an openness to and seeking out the sense of awe, the sense of connection that humans have described in similar ways for thousands of years. It's about a deep personal experience of knowing and connection. It can be felt in community with others, but it's really a personal, individual experience. Religion, on the other hand, is a collection of rituals, writings, traditions, calendars, community, and rules. Religion is a collection of music and art, and institutions that fund artists and clergy and justice makers. Religion is the structure in which individual spirituality can be fostered into maturity. And just so we're clear, Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition. It's not a huge one, but we are a religion. People are wise to notice that spirituality and religion are not the same thing. They are different, and they work best together. Spirituality and religion work together like a hand in a glove. Either one without the other, religion without spirit, or spirituality without some structure, is most likely not going to be very fruitful. I don't say that because this is our pledge campaign month, or because religion pays my salary. I say that because real, meaningful change of human hearts takes time and practice. Religious institutions, like this one and a whole lot of very different ones, give some framework for ongoing support of the time that it takes for spiritual practice to take root. Religion can be, it should be, a framework within which spirituality thrives. And yes, I do know that it is wielded as a terrible weapon sometimes. Spirituality also has a huge, dangerous, well-developed shadow side. That is all for another day. For now, I just want to say that these two modalities work together, or hopefully they should. Transformation doesn't happen in a one-hour workshop or in a one-day seminar. Real change takes a long, long time, even for the ones who we assume are the best equipped for it. We hear that immediately after his big moment of transformation at baptism by John the Baptist, Jesus was led into the wilderness for 40 days and nights of fasting and facing his demons. More and more I hear about people doing intermittent fasting, limiting your eating to only 8 hours a day. That sounds really intense to me. Many of our Muslim neighbors are doing something similar this month for Ramadan. The Bible doesn't give us much detail about Jesus' fasting, but 40 days and nights sounds like a lot to me. I talked about the Buddha's journey a couple of weeks ago. We know that he found enlightenment sitting under the Bodhi tree. The story tells us that he sat under that tree for 49 days waiting. For many people, the primary touchstone for the time of transformation is the story of the Israelites in the wilderness after escape from slavery in Egypt. In the Torah, this period, the book of Exodus, is really the time when that community gelled together and solidified what they were about. We remember the intense action parts of that story, the really violent parts. There may be scenes of the movies The Ten Commandments or Exodus playing in your heads right now. With the help of Moses and God and some vicious plagues and natural disasters, they were able to escape. Then what? The desert is rough. The Israelites soon found that escape was not all they had imagined. They likely thought that they were going to starve or die of thirst. What they said is striking, according to the Bible. Just days after escape from slavery, they said, quote, "If only we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by flesh pots and ate our fill of bread." They essentially said, "Thanks for leading us into freedom, but this is so bad. It would have been better to have died under the rule of our oppressor." This is just a few days into the journey. This ancient story that many see speaks to the beautiful ways that we can find liberation, but it's also a warning. It's an ancient story that the past, remembering the past, is such a stumbling block. I know it's true for people in recovery from addiction. It's true for people coming out of long-term relationships. It's true coming out of detention. The big transformations require manifesting a whole new life. It's a change of friends, a change of relationships with family, maybe even letting some family go to move forward. It might be new work, new faith, new hobbies, building a new life, or go back to what is known. The temptation is incredibly strong to go back to what we've known, even when it was broken. After deep doubts and discontent, just a few days in, they wandered in the desert for 40 more years, we're told. This is one of those stories from the Bible that sticks with us because it speaks so clearly to the human experience. The story of Exodus is a story of hope and inspiration for many communities that have endured oppression, especially African American community. And it holds within it some dire warning about the cost of seeking a new life. Back then, 40 years was even longer than it is now when you compare it to the span of a human life. A whole generation with the courage to leave must have eventually died and laid the groundwork for a whole other generation who had the courage to keep going, to pursue a promised land, to come up into leadership. In our lives today, transformation kind of takes two different parts, two different types of effort. One part is recognizing the need to leave or mourning what was taken from us. And the second, equally important piece is identifying what we want next and finding the motivation to keep going toward it. What is this promised land that we will find and build? That journey toward freedom isn't a short one. It never has been, and it probably never will be. One of the common things among promises of fast transformation is leaving the past behind as if it never happened. Washed clean of the past, we're promised a new life. I suggest to you that anyone who's trying to convince us to forget what happened in the past is trying to hide something. History doesn't go anywhere. The consequences of what happened may still be unfolding and changing, but it happened. History is done, and it is as real as a rock. I understand the desire to move beyond our challenges. We have all faced more challenges and trauma than we ever admit in polite conversation. In this room and online in your homes, you have survived horrible medical procedures. Some of you have been in war. Several have battled addiction. Some of you have made your way in the world as a queer person, either hiding or fighting or trying to prove your worth. Some have navigated the gauntlet of being a person of color in the United States. All of us have survived imperfect families, some of those slipping into the territory of abusive. Some in this room navigate poverty or financial insecurity. Many have experienced sexual harassment or assault, especially among our sisters. And all of us have cared for someone going through these battles. So many pieces of trauma in our individual lives. And this list is not dramatic. These are the thorns that I'm certain have touched people in this room. And I'm sure there are more stories, much more gruesome. Navigating through those, building a life on the other side isn't about amnesia. Coping with trauma is a long process of accepting that the things that have happened to you don't define your worth as a human being. Unwrapping that takes time. Hopefully with a good therapist, good friends, maybe some good medication, good community, sunshine, good food, and good rest. It's a long, long process. Last Sunday, I listened in on another UU service from the church where I grew up. Reverend Celeste Labach was talking about navigating trauma and getting through the other side. She shared that earlier that week, she had to take her car into the shop. Her car was pulling to one side of the road as she drove down. She thought she might need to have her suspension balanced. It turns out that getting your wheels balanced is about having the amount of pressure or the weight of the car on each wheel divided out evenly. To have a smooth ride, you need to get the weight balanced out evenly across all four wheels, and that's a whole different life metaphor. What she found was that her car was due for an alignment. Alignment is about getting each of your wheels pointing in the right direction, the same direction, so that when they hit the road, they aren't fighting each other, and you can go forward in the direction you choose. It's an incredible metaphor for dealing with the various pieces of our lives. The past doesn't go anywhere. What has happened to us and what we have done, those things stick with us. But we can align those realities to point them in the same direction, so that when our wheels come in contact with the reality of life, we can pick the direction that we want to go. That seeking alignment, getting going again, is a big, long project. I don't say all of that to scare you. I say that to let you know that the incremental growth that you are making is transformation. Some of our Christian neighbors talk about their faith as being reborn. That language is rooted in the ritual of baptism. It's an ancient and fascinating ritual with great symbolism. The challenge is that it suggests a one-and-done picture of change. This Sunday, this spring, I invite us also to be reborn again and again and again. This journey of transformation that we are all on takes a long time, and it is good to have some traveling companions. Amen.